secure. Remember, the future of our currency is here. Dcash, it's safer, faster, and cheaper. Everybody rolling now with Dcash. Everybody rolling now with Dcash. Everybody rolling now with Dcash. We spending easy dollars digitally.
28 minutes moving out to the hour. 10 o'clock is now time for Fire Talk. And in the studio, as usual, we have Rommel, Timothy, and their guest, Superintendent Lyndon David. Good morning, gentlemen.
64.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Yeah, I'm 64.
Good morning, JQ.
Yes, good morning.
Morning to everyone.
Okay.
Well, it's a pleasure being here in the studios at ZIZ again. Here to bring you information on what is relating to fire. Now, today's topic is Carib Wave. And we have here with us in the studios a guest speaker in the form of Superintendent Lyndon David. And I would let him also add what areas he is responsible for within the police force. Sir David?
Good morning to everyone, GQ, my host and panelists, listening audience on the various platforms. My name is Lyndon David, as mentioned earlier, Superintendent of Police. I am currently the Divisional Officer for Division B. And being the Divisional Officer for Division B, that encompasses a good cross-section of the island of St. Kitts. So from Rascot, go right around through Sandy Point, reach through Large Gut, a big chunk of the island. I'm also, when it comes to tsunami and disasters and so forth, I am also the liaison between the police and NEMA. And for tsunami, I also assist in terms of managing and training persons for the tsunami warning focal point. And as we go through the presentation, I'll explain more about the tsunami warning focal point. So therefore, in terms of Carib Wave 2023, we will add more information. So basically what it is, Carib Wave 2023 is just an exercise to test our capabilities, our readiness in the event of a tsunami. So I will give more details as we go along.
All right, nice. Okay, so Carib Wave 23, the date for that exercise, and this is an annual exercise, correct?
Yes, it's an annual exercise, and this year it will be at the 23rd of March.
23rd of March.
Yes.
All right.
23rd of March, and we have two scenarios with that.
Tell us about the scenarios.
Okay, these scenarios will have simulated for Carib 23. We have each participating country will select the scenario that best fits their objectives. The first scenario simulates a tsunami generated by a magnitude of 7.6 earthquake located on the Gulf of Honduras. The other one, the second one, is where a tsunami is caused by a flank collapse of the Mount Pelée volcano. So, and when we go back up to know what is a tsunami, the tsunami basically is a series of waves caused by earthquakes or undersea volcanic eruptions, and you're ready to talk about a flank of Mount Pelée, which is a volcano. So therefore, you also have underground movement of soil. We look at the tectonic plates and so forth.
Yeah.
So those things can trigger tsunami, especially if they we have what we call distant local tsunamis. So we can have an incident, for example, the earthquake in Turkey. Let's assume that took place in the ocean. It could trigger a tsunami. Whether or not the waves reach here, but areas close by can be affected. And it appears that they happen on land because you can see the destruction that took place on land. So the epicenter for that might have been on land. So tsunamis, they are very destructive, and you can have lots of death And where a tsunami is concerned, for a small country like ours, they too can cause serious destruction to maybe not just a section, but the entire islands, depending on how things evolve from there.
And tsunami normally wreaks havoc in two forms. The waves that is coming in, and then when the water is receding,
Yes.
it also wreaks havoc on anything in its path.
Yes. Now, one of the things I would just like to mention before I go any further is that we want persons to be prepared for the event of a tsunami, before, during, and after. Somebody may say, okay, all right, can a tsunami just appear like that? As mentioned, you have volcanic eruptions, and you also have earthquakes. Now, if you feel a shake that goes for like 2 minutes or so, hard shake, buildings moving and so forth, you have to look out for a number of things, especially if it happen in water, ocean, and shallow water. Now, and in terms of tsunamis and the open ocean, this is what it says. Out in the depths of the ocean, tsunami waves do not dramatically increase in height. But as the waves travel inland, they build up, because they no longer have that depth.
Yeah.
So as they start to get shallow,
It's like
start to
they
build
come
up.
in shallow water.
And therefore they also move very fast, like a jet plane.
Yep.
So you find that once persons are on the beach, and it happened some time ago, I think over in Indonesia, they were beach goers, and they suddenly see a strange phenomenon. Many went towards it because they were not aware. So they see the water start to recede. So that looks strange. Suppose you see fish there, you may want to take a fish. Understand? Or you may want to go at the piece of land that where the water was. But when that water comes back, you cannot outrun it. You cannot outrun it. And that's why when people see these strange phenomena, just head to higher ground.
Don't even think about stopping and looking
Right.
to see, hey, what's
When the
going
beach
on.
start running. One of the things that I'd like to mention about before, it is best that when persons get the warning, and I would like to touch on the tsunami warning focal point. The tsunami warning focal point basically is a 24/7 point of contact. It could be an office, it could be an operational unit or a position, but it is not a person. So in St. Kitts and Nevis, our tsunami warning focal point is Police Telecommunications Department. And it's also said that all the government to receive or disseminate tsunami information from the Tsunami Warning Center, which is over in Alaska. Now, it is the Police Telecommunications Center that's a designated government focal point. So we have no choice but to function in that way. The role basically to receive the messages transmitted from the tsunami service provider, evaluate the message, look at what warning there for us, what we have to do or what we may not have to do. And then after we do all the evaluation, we have to send it out to the relevant authorities. So once that message is received and we realize that St. Kitts and Nevis is in danger of a tsunami, the messages start flying. So we'll send to NEMA, we'll send to Fire, Defense Force, Police, and then NEMA now will also send to the media houses and other relevant government departments for action to be taken. And thus far we have partnerships with media houses. So one of the things we're looking at, you can see a thread message running under.
Yes.
You look at a television screen.
Yeah.
You can also get it on your phone, or the radio stations can say something about the tsunami. So we want, when persons hear that, we'll also send you the estimated time of arrival of the first wave. So once we know that, we will tell people so they start to move. People should not be running in a pandemonium kind of a way. Try to drive. What happens, you have roadblocks. And if we have a short time, it means people get caught up in traffic.
Yeah.
So therefore, it is best that persons just know where the assembly areas are the safe zones, and head towards them. And most of the time, higher ground is a safe zone. The waves can reach even about 2 miles inland. So we know that Bastia is under sea level. So, however, the safe zone for the Bastia area will be the bypass road. Above it.
Anywhere
above it.
Right.
Anywhere above it.
Which bypass road?
The
FT Williams.
FT Williams Highway.
Yeah, because they have become
yes, FT Williams Highway. So we have that. And once you go above that, it's okay.
It's safe. Okay.
Persons over the peninsula and Frigate Bay, just make sure they go to high ground, because over there is still lowland. But there are some peaks over there that you can go upon where the waves will not reach you. However,
Timothy Hill, for example.
However, we're now dealing with June now. Once you see the waves start coming, stay where you are. Stay where you are. Don't move until you get word. For persons who are using boats or fisher folk and even the cruise ship, the best thing for them to do is to go in deeper waters. Go into deeper waters.
Yeah, where the wave would be.
Yeah, you may just feel a
little
bulge,
bump.
but like I said, the open ocean you wouldn't feel it, but it travels very fast. After now, it's not like a hurricane. The water is still there. So after it goes inland, obviously it has to go back out to sea, right? So you have a double whammy, so to speak. Destruction going out, destruction going out to land, and destruction going back into to sea. So therefore, no one should make an attempt to go into the water to collect anything. Stay away, watch it. When the all clear is given, that's when persons can move back. But the all clear only will be given when the authorities establish a number of things. The number of debris they have to deal with and the destruction, paths that are blocked and so forth. So therefore the police and military, fire and other civic-minded people, public works and persons with trucks and so will come into play. And then persons can also go and check the premises after we clear all the debris. One of the things I would like to say, like in terms of before, the police, defense force and fire normally will assist person in terms of evacuation. They move around in the emergency vehicles with their PA systems and encourage people to move to higher ground, giving them that time of arrival of the first wave, so that at the end of the day, majority of persons can be saved. When it comes to property damage, well, that is something that is basically impossible for us to do.
Okay. Just so that there isn't any misunderstanding, because you mentioned when persons see the first wave, they should stay where they are. I want persons to understand this doesn't mean that if you're still in town and you see the wave, you still stay in town.
No.
Just for clarity.
Head higher ground.
Once you're at higher ground and you see the wave, stay where you are.
Correct.
Because at this point, you don't have any business being in town still.
If I'm in town on the street, it's a low-lying area, then I still need to get to safety. As quickly as possible. Alright, so Superintendent, in terms of the public and businesses, how is this? How are these two separate? Should I say? Sector of persons, the public and the business, how are they integrated into the exercise?
Okay, invitations are being sent out currently to various institutions who will be in the exercise zone. The exercise zone will be from Sandown Road, go up to the Cenotaph. That's from east to west. North to south now we have the Bay Road. And I think we might protrude a bit up to Central Street. If not Central Street, we can go along. We have below that we have Fort Thomas Road and them there where we could have that. But I more believe that we go up to thing. But we will touch some person that we never touched before, because we've been running these exercises for quite some time. One of the things that we like to add is that these exercises assist us to be tsunami ready. So we've been certified 2 times in a row. Because once we started getting involved, we realized we have to be tsunami ready, and we've been working in it. And this year, Exercise Again will also assist us to receive the same award.
Okay.
However, one of the greatest things is that, as Timothy mentioned, apart from the persons who will be involved in the exercise, so that they can test their emergency response mechanism, because that's what we want them to do, test their emergency response mechanism. So those businesses who are part of it, let us assume we have a supermarket. They may say, look, we don't want to have an evacuation, but we want to test what we would do in a situation like this. So we would like that whilst they're there, they can simply tell person, okay, bam, you hear that sound? That is an exercise we're doing. So we want you to stop, focus on what we're doing, and they could explain to them, or if they're going to evacuate just outside, allow everybody to go outside. Now, for safety and security reasons, they could allow one person to stay inside to ensure that nobody go in and do anything out of the freeway. But ensure that persons who are patronizing your business, they are also part of the exercise. Okay? Once a real thing comes, everybody in your compound must evacuate and head to safety. So we want persons to be aware of what they should do, and that's why we want full public participation. The persons who we invite, Mr. Martin, they participate very well, but it's the public. I remember last year we had the one in Old Road, and some of the persons that didn't want to be disturbed with what they're doing. But I would like to suggest to everyone who listening and who looking, it is not just for NEMA and the security forces or the government, but it's for all of society. And we want you to take the safety and security of your lives very seriously, because tsunami, very destructive.
Okay.
So when we look at the outer world, places like Japan, who have tsunamis quite frequently, and in that region, they conduct drills on a regular basis, and they have the full participation of the citizens of their country. So so you're saying for us in the Federation, and Nevis is a part of this tsunami exercise, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. So you're saying to the residents, to participate as much as possible in preparedness for a tsunami in the likely event.
Yes. One of the things I would say that our Federation has its uniqueness about it, but when it comes to disaster, we have that synergy that takes place. Because we know we have the NEMA, and we have the Nevis Disaster Management Department. So we do work hand in hand, because at the end of the day, based on the constitutional arrangement, the Governor General can have the entire Federation, one island, or part of an island, deemed an emergency site. So therefore, if it's just for the island and Nevis, then the authorities and Nevis, in collaboration with NEMA, just in case you may need external assistance, because what we may have on St. Kitts and what we have on Nevis may not be able to contain that. So therefore, we need our foreign affairs persons to get involved with other things. Plus, also, we have residents who are not from the Federation, so their people and their governments will need to know much more about them as well. So this way, the whole collaboration between the islands thing. But when it comes to the entire island, NEMA will take the lead role.
Alright, so this year's exercise is 2 components: virtual section and then partial physical evacuation, but not a complete one to the assembly areas, but just a partial.
Yes. The virtual, here's where as I mentioned briefly, where employers and employees will explain their emergency plans
and procedures,
what they will do in a scenario like this, and then they may have key persons be there to explain to us. In terms of the partial evacuation, we now have people now actually utilizing the emergency and evacuation plans. But instead of going to the safe zone, we'll just accept, bam, just outside. So let us assume we're going to use coats and rams. Just outside on the sidewalk, that'll be sufficient for us. If they go on the other side, wherever they choose, that they feel comfortable. But if they just say, yo, we want to see how much minutes it will take us to reach all the way up to FT Williams, they go. So we will have traffic management, and here's where the police and fire and defense force come into to play, because once people are moving in these kind of things, we need to have proper control. So we are working with my colleagues in the traffic department to ensure that on that day we have good coordination. We continue to have our meetings to say we're going to work it out, but I sure that we will get it work. But it will work best when all members of the community, and mostly all, understand their role and function and just participate the best way they can. So persons coming out on the sidewalk, do not tell people move out of me when I start things. Understand what is going on, because we are looking at saving lives, which is very critical.
Okay. So everybody being involved would give us a better chance at a successful exercise.
Yes.
I think you mentioned something, but I think he would have cleared up a question that I had. What benefit is it to us, taking part in an exercise like this? How does it benefit the country on a whole?
Yes, it benefits the country because, like I said, we have to work on being tsunami ready to get our certification. And since we are on the role of being recertified, we do not want to fall back. And being recertified, the relevant departments or relevant authorities must know their role and have these exercises.
Okay.
Society now must be aware. So apart from this program here, I know NEMA doing their part through their public relations department, and also previous exercises. Persons are getting more and more aware. Mr. Martin just mentioned about Japan. What I would like persons to do, persons who are computer savvy, even if you're not computer savvy, just go on the computer, type in Japan tsunami. And all they will see, there's so many because Japan is prone to these things. But the one that I watch is where all this, you hear the rumbling, birds flying, and then you just see like the ocean coming, and there was this high wall and just started to go over, and over. This tall building, you just take it up out of its foundation and move it. People trapped in traffic, right? And then apart from people trapped in traffic, you see another house come down on the water, boats, everything. So that's why I'm saying that you have to get out of the way, because you may not drown, but you can be crushed by these objects that are in the water. So it's not a matter of being drowned, but it's crushed by these big objects that are being debris in the water. And what is now happening, you'll find that some persons may not be able to go to higher ground, but if you have a good building with good foundation, solid, that building itself can be higher ground. But some of the buildings in Basti, they were built many years ago, so therefore the foundation we're not certain. So it's best to clear the way and go to higher grounds. But in other parts of the world, they use high rise as part of elevating.
Okay.
Yeah, so in terms of, you mentioned that police would be involved, of course. I think, of course, we as a fire department, we are eagerly awaiting this exercise to be a part of it. What other emergency entities would be a part of this exercise to make sure that it is a success?
Well, we have the Defense Force for certain will also help, because when we look at things, they have a number of persons that also help in disaster relief and so forth. And then in terms of this one around, we may not have the health in terms of ambulances and so forth because of what we're testing this time around. But we know we have more meetings to come before, so we'll do some more tweaking. Okay. Also, we will have, depending on how it is again, we could try to get Ministry of Foreign Affairs involved. If we're going to put an inject there, and if you're going to talk to them, okay, we have 20 nationals of this country missing, right? And we will like your assistance to inform family members and so forth. So these are the kind of things we could look at. But like I said, we're just basically testing persons' emergency response mechanisms.
Okay.
All right. So the duration of this exercise, having the virtual component should last about
Where we're looking at tops, we could look at between 2 to 3 hours. 2 to 3 hours. But I don't think we go very too far beyond 2 hours.
all right.
And after we do have our action
But that
review.
is mainly for the virtual component where you know they will go over the plans and procedures and we
Yes.
have a discussion on it. And all right. So if you could just we have just a few more minutes. If you could just run through the procedure again for the general public as to from the moment an alert of a tsunami is there, what is the protocols that leads to everyone knowing that hey, a tsunami is approaching.
Okay, once the tsunami warning focal point receive the message that a tsunami will be impacting St. Kitts and Nevis, these persons will look at the estimated time of arrival for the first wave. Once that is given to the public, sometimes, like I said, a distance tsunami, a regional tsunami, give us time, but a local one, meaning happening in our
Right
waters,
in our waters.
we don't have much time. So those days, just the shaking is sufficient warning enough for people to start to look at things. We don't want to scare people either, but we want persons to also read materials. But so once that is sent out, we want persons to listen, and when they realize that look, we have some time, start to take whatever you have. Whether you have an elderly person, you have medication to take whatever you would need when you leave, and then go to higher ground or the assembly area. So we have the maps. I know we were making some changes to some of them. So once we complete them, the assembly areas, we will make mention of them and make sure that they're clear all the time. But even if you do not know, higher grounds is the key.
Right.
Then we do not want persons to if they're on the beach and let's assume they see the water, start to see strange movement of water coming in the wave, getting thing, or going back. Just start to move inland to higher ground.
grounds.
And once the water recede, wait for the all clear. Don't go back, because you may see a puddle of water. You think it's not deep, but you sink deep down because it might be a barrel or something there, and person may drown. So wait for the all clear, and for the emergency personnel start to clear the debris in order for persons to head back.
Right. Okay. I think it was a fruitful discussion this morning. Thanks for educating us on tsunami and how prepared we are as a federation. And I know the residents would take this information quite seriously. And we're looking forward to persons to participate in this year's exercise. And if indeed you have not been contacted and you want to be a part of the exercise, you could always contact NEMA, and we register you as being a participant in the exercise. So thank you once again, Superintendent David.
Thank you very much, and everyone do enjoy the rest of the day.
In case you don't know us, you're just twisting the dial away and managed to bump into us. This is ZIZ Radio from out of St. Kitts.
Greetings, I am the Reverend Darren Carlos, priest in charge of the St. Paul and St. John with St. Mary Date Bay Anglican churches. We pray in the name of God, whose Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Eternal and compassionate God, with humble hearts we approach your throne of grace, thanking you for your mercies that are new every morning. It is because of your compassionate love that